my friend and our first guest in the studio today. His name is Themba Mbuli. He's one of the winners of the Standard Bank Young Artist Award for Dance in 2016. I'm good. What does it mean for you to be the Young Artist Award recipient this year?
I was really humbled by the announcement to say that I'm amongst all the great artists here in South Africa, and motivating at the same time, even though the art industry is hard, but it motivates me to even push forward.
Dancers are some of the hardest working people I've ever met. I mean, dancers are as tough as construction workers. What kind of work are you doing now?
Right now, we're busy preparing for the National Arts Festival because the award comes with the commission to create a production for the festival. So I'm busy with Sold, which was inspired by the history of the Nama and the Herero people in Namibia. The genocide that happened in 1904 to 1908. Yeah, it's the production that you are also composing music in.
I'm not even sure I'm composing music. I think what I'm doing rather is providing musical babysitting. I kind of come and encourage, and I do voice warm-ups and occasionally write a few things, right? So we're still working on it.
Yes.
When you take it to Grahamstown, what is the thrust of the message that you want to share in Grahamstown?
The work was inspired by my late grandmother, who raised me as I was a boy. So it made me to look at my neighborhood as a whole in Soweto, whereby there is a lot of mothers and grandmothers who are raising boys, and as much as we have strong men in this country, but we have women that we don't talk about, women that we don't celebrate, that we don't embrace their contribution that they are making in the country. We don't even recognize that much.
I come from Soweto too. My hood is Fulo South. And I know that on my street there are lots and lots of young black men who've been brought up by grandmothers, like you say. What then happens is young men become very angry, older men who harm these young women who come up after them or in relationships with them. What happens? I mean, are you relating to that question in your work? You've got a number of women in your work.
Yes.
Do they
majority it's women, It's only 2 guys and 5 ladies in the production.
How does that dynamic work, and how does that play out with us being what's called a macho culture?
It's a production that is directed to women. I felt that I cannot speak on behalf of women. So that's the result. I have these 5 ladies who are helping me to create this work. So their voices and their views, it's challenging me to a point that what I thought I knew about women, it's this little. So their contribution, I've got a poet who's also writing stuff that it blows me away.
The piece you're working on now is called Sold.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about that title.
Sold. The title, I took it from the slaves who were sold after the genocide of the Nama and the Herero people. Because after all that has happened, after they were tortured, they were killed, the remaining that were left, they were not released, they were not being freed, so they were sold. So I'm using that as a metaphor and relating it to what's happening in our society today. If you look at my works, all the works that I've done, I'm using mostly history, but I'm speaking about current things. So in the same with the work. So I want to challenge the issues of colonial. Oh, this word always it's always a trouble in my mouth. Colonialism and what's happening today. So it's all that Western influence and our traditional influences clashing together, because we cannot ignore that there was colonialism, and we cannot ignore the facts of our traditions as well. So,
in fact, coloniality is what links us to a place, for example, like India. They practiced that coloniality first on the Indian subcontinent, and then it came here as a kind of a professionalized, budgeted form. So, And when you go to Grahamstown, of course, you're going to the center, one of the centers of colonialism.
Yes.
In South Africa.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you have a relationship to that construct? I mean, there's Rhodes Must Fall. You're going to see Rhodes right there, right? Do you speak about that in the work?
We are addressing everything. It's part of the things that we are addressing in the works. We are not even just looking at South Africa. We're also looking at other countries as well outside of South Africa. So all those are the issues that we are addressing.
I want to do something to you now, Themba, that I did when we had our first meeting, and I wanted to ask you whether you've heard this. Yeah? Have you heard that?
Yes, I have a collection of Mama Africa.
Mama Miriam Makeba.
Yes, Kauleza, yeah.
Right. Well, I'm glad you're calling her Mama Africa, because we call her Mama Africa, but very few South Africans know why we call her Mama Africa. One of the main reasons is she lived across this continent, spoke a lot of the languages.
Yes.
This is a record that she did with Harry Belafonte in 65. She won the Grammy, the first African Grammy with this in 1966.
With Kauleza.
With the whole whole album.
Yeah.
It was called An Evening with Belafonte and Makeba in 1966. The first global African superstar. She did an incredible amount, not for just women, but for the South African struggle.
Yeah.
And she's been a huge hero. They call her Shiro in the township, right?
And we are not told about the contribution that she has made in Africa. I, for one, most of the things that I knew about her that she did, it's because of the engagement that we had when you broke down to details what she has done in Africa. So,
well, people in Guinea, Conakry, know more. People in Cameroon, in Douala, know more. Right? People in Kinshasa, in the Congo, what was then Zaire, know more. Because people spent time working with her and engaging in these politics.
Yes, yeah.
I first heard that record, I think it must have been around the 16th, around this week in June in 84. It was banned. It was an underground record.
So you heard it here in South Africa?
I heard it here for the first time. I was visiting my aunt and uncle's house in Jabulani, and they had it on vinyl.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it was illegal, so I just put the record on and played it. And somebody came into the house and said, "You can't play that so loud," because it was such a problematic reference. And I didn't quite understand the politics inside of it at that time. And so some of the political stuff, a lot of that stuff doesn't feel or sound political.
No, not today.
Yeah.
Not today.
Are you interested in that? Does your work ever engage directly with being political?
My past 3 works, 3 of them, they're all political. Because I'm going back to the politics and how do we relate to the politics today. I did a solo called Daxel that has been touring around the world. I was looking at the prisoners of Robben Island and how does that relate to my life. And when I was busy doing research, I saw the similarities of how they, even though they were in prison, but their mental capacity, it was not captured, it was not in prison, how they remain strong. So I related that to my life today, how I keep imprisoning myself in my own mental...
Your own construct.
Yes.
I hear you.